what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a horror thriller film, Frailty. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins on one calm evening, and an FBI agent named Wesley arrives at the FBI headquarters in the city of Dallas, Texas. Before entering his office, the junior agent quickly briefs him that the man in his office, Fenton, who claims to have info on the God's Hand serial killer, but refuses to disclose any more information unless he talks to Agent Wesley, who's in charge of the God's Hand case. He enters the office and finds Fenton holding the photo frame of him and his mother. Agent Wesley grabs the photo frame and tells Fenton not to take things off his desk. He then grabs the photo frame and puts it back on his desk. Agent Wesley then sits down, grabs a pen, and asks how he could help. Fenton then goes on and tells Agent Wesley that he knows who God's Hand killer is. Agent Wesley doubts his statement instantly. He explains that in this certain type of case, nobody just waltzes into the FBI office and tells who the suspect is. Fenton reveals that it's his younger brother, Adam, and informs Agent Wesley that he received a phone call from his brother last night who stated that demons were taking over the world and requested to take his body to the Rose Garden, then hanged up. After the call, Adam goes over to the desk, takes a drink, grabs a gun, points it to his head, then pulls the trigger. Fenton then reveals that he buried his brother's body, since he promised a long time ago. Agent Wesley gets up from his seat, goes out of the office, and goes to the nearest phone. He then contacts the sheriff's office to talk to the local sheriff. The receptionist answers the phone call and informs Agent Wesley that the sheriff is not available at the moment. Agent Wesley understands and asks the receptionist if they know Fenton. She informs Agent Wesley that they know him and that he stole an ambulance along with his brother's corpse. Agent Wesley goes back to the office, interested in what Fenton has said. He begins to ask the details, but is cut off by Fenton, asking if the old woman in the picture is Agent Wesley's mother. Agent Wesley answers him, and then he tells Fenton to get back, spilling the details. Fenton narrates that it all started when they were still young boys in the 70s. They used to live behind the Rose Garden. Their mother died giving birth to his younger brother, and he's been taking care of him ever since. Their father works as a mechanic, and they pretty much live a normal life until one evening. Their father wakes them up in the middle of the night, instructing the siblings to listen closely to what he has to say. The father tells his children that he received a revelation from God. He tells his young boys that the end is next, and that they have been chosen by God to eliminate the demons walking and living amongst them. He further tells them that the angel who delivered the revelation calls them God's Hand. Fenton stares at his father blankly. His father doesn't make any sense, and without any evidence to back it up, Fenton thinks his father is losing his mind. The next day, the father wakes the boys so that they can get ready for school. Fenton thought that everything that happened the night before was a dream. However, his father seems to be normal, which confuses him if the events last night are truly a dream. The father drops them at school, and as the brothers get off, he tells them not to tell anyone what happened last night. Fenton pauses for a moment, realizing that it wasn't a dream. Fenton further narrates that the magical weapons were revealed to his father on his way to work. The father sees a brilliant beam directing its light on a worn-out barn and decides to approach it. Later, he brings home a double-sided axe with Otis written at the side and a pair of gloves. Next, he comes home shouting out for his son, excited to reveal the other magical weapon. He then undoes the cloth, revealing a short steel pipe that completes the weapons sent by God. Next, he tells the boys that the angel will reveal the list of the 7 demons that need to be eliminated. Soon, while Fenton is washing the dishes, his father confronts him about their supposed mission in eliminating the demons. He understands that everything that has been revealed sounds crazy, but he insists that everything's all true and shows Fenton the first list that was revealed when he was at work. Fenton tries to report his father to the local sheriff before he kills somebody, but decides to run off and not snitch on his father. One night, the father comes home late. Fenton takes a peek through the window and sees his father carrying a body wrapped in cloth. He decides to check it out and goes to the back of the house. He sees his father trying to unlock the shed, while a woman bound by ropes and mouth taped lays on the ground. Once the shed's been unlocked, the father carries the woman's body inside the shed. He then tells the boys that the woman is a demon. Fenton tries to convince his dad not to go through with it, but his father tries to justify the act as God's command. Next, the father slowly approaches the woman and touches her. As soon as he touches her, the woman squeals as if in pain, and then he removes his hand. He touches her a second time and removes his hand. He looks at the woman in shock and fear, as if he's seen something horrific or traumatic. He then swings the axe and slaughters the woman. Later the same night, they go to the rose garden to bury the chopped-up body. The father tells his son not to mourn for the woman, stating that she wasn't human but a demon. In response, Fenton threatens to report it to the authorities if his father tries to kill again. His father replies that someone will die if that occurs. Back at the present, Fenton tells Agent Wesley that the bodies of the God's Hand victims are buried in the rose garden. Agent Wesley is skeptical and asks why Fenton didn't tell him that sooner. Fenton tells Agent Wesley that he wouldn't believe him if he did. Next, they head out of the building and Agent Wesley handcuffs Fenton, leads him to the back of his police car, and drives off to Rose Garden. While on the road, Fenton brings up the photo of Agent Wesley and his mother again, asking why he has his mother's picture in his office. Agent Wesley shares that his mother was murdered a couple of days after that photo was taken. Fenton continues to narrate his story. One day, the siblings arrive at their home and see a white van parked outside the house. The father then informs Fenton that they need to cancel the sleepover, since they have some work to do. Later, they stalk the second victim on the list, a bald old man, who parks his car and goes inside a store. Meanwhile, the father tells Fenton to proceed as planned, but Fenton tries to oppose continuing with the plan, telling his father that he can't do it, for he's afraid someone might see them. It's broad daylight, and there are many people around. The younger brother tries to volunteer, but his time will come. For now, it's Fenton's turn. The father assures his sons not to worry, since God will help them. Moments later, the bald old man goes out of the store and walks towards his car. Fenton sees the bald old man, but doesn't notify his father, who is busy doing something else, hoping that they won't continue with their intent. But it's futile. The father sees the bald old man and orders Fenton to go ahead with the plan. Then Fenton proceeds and asks to be looking under his car, calling out for his pet dog. The bald old man tries to be of help and looks under the car, but as soon as he kneels, the father hits the bald old man with the steel pipe at the back of his head. Later, the bald old man regains consciousness. He realizes his mouth is taped shut, and he's rope-bound to the chair. The father touches the bald old man and lets out the same reaction as when he first touched the first demon they eliminated. The father then grabs the axe and kills the bald old man. Next, Fenton digs up a grave for the body. After their father left, he convinces the younger brother to escape far from their father, but Adam doesn't want to run away, stating that he sees the visions as well when their father touches the supposed demons. Adam then justifies their father's action as God's will and runs off. The next day, the father instructs Fenton to dig a perfectly square hole in the ground, about 10 feet deep and 15 feet wide on all sides. Fenton starts digging. His hatred for God keeps him going and digging up the hole, and his father, the angels, or nothing else will change his mind into thinking that killing the supposed demons is right. Fenton keeps on digging, even though his hands are full of blisters and starts to bleed. He refuses to use the gloves his father gave him, and by the 6th day, he completes digging the hole. The father then builds a cellar with the help of his sons. After finishing the cellar, they cover it with dirt and move the shed on top. Not long after, the father brings another demon. He then calls out Fenton, hands him the axe, and uses it to eliminate the demon laying on the cellar floor. Fenton can't bear anymore the thought of murdering the man lying on the floor, and so he runs away this time. Fenton reaches the local sheriff's office and reports his father. The sheriff finds the story absurd and too ridiculous to be true, and tries to contact the father. Fenton offers to inform the sheriff that it's all true and that he can show him the evidence. Next, the sheriff knocks on the door and talks to the father about the situation. The sheriff relates to the father, stating that he also has sons who went through the same rebellious stage. Eventually, they go to the shed and find nothing except dirt. However, Fenton tries to convince the sheriff that his father has moved the bodies somewhere and offers to show him the rose garden where all the bodies are buried, but the sheriff has seen enough and decides to walk out. Then all of a sudden, the sheriff falls down the stairs and the father descends with his face full of pain and sorrow. He then tells the sheriff that may God welcome him before striking him dead using the axe. After the murder, while Fenton is digging a hole, his father tells him that he hasn't killed a man before. Fenton argues that he has seen him kill many times before, but his father tells him that those weren't humans but demons, and that because of Fenton's actions, he was forced to kill a man. After burying the body, the father orders his son to go down the cellar, but Fenton tries to convince his father that he won't tell anyone again. After a struggle, the father locks his son in the cellar as punishment until he repents. A week passes by, and the father opens the cellar door and asks Fenton if God has spoken to him yet. But he remains stubborn and tells his father that there is no God. Without a second thought, he nails the cellar door shut once again. Days pass by, and Fenton is no longer responding. His father opens the cellar doors and wets Fenton's lips. To his relief, Fenton is still alive, and on top of that, he claims to have seen God this time. Later, they go to their next target in the suburbs. Fenton claims that he's ready for his mission of capturing a demon. They then approach the house, knock on the door, and the thug answers. The father and son inform the thug that they need help and need a tire iron. The thug leads them to the back and looks for the tire tool. Meanwhile, Fenton accidentally backs up on a hammer, which leads it to fall. The thug looks back and sees the father holding a steel pipe up in the air. The quick-thinking thug fights back by hitting the father in the guts using a tire iron. Fenton throws a wrench at the thug, which distracts him. Then the father lands a blow to the head, knocking the thug out. They then proceed to the cellar to kill the thug. Fenton is holding the axe, while the father kneels to touch and see the thug's past sins. Afterward, the father orders Fenton to destroy the demon. Fenton looks down on his prey and takes a minute before swinging the axe. But to their shock, he struck his father in the chest instead. The younger brother screams for his dad as he falls to his back. The father then whispers something to his younger son, and not a minute later, he dies. On the other hand, Fenton removes the tape on the thug's mouth, but before he can undo the ropes, the younger brother runs towards them and swings the axe downwards. Back to the present, Fenton instructs Agent Wesley to take a turn until coming to a full stop. They arrive at their destination. Fenton then leads Agent Wesley through the dark path full of vegetation. Fenton continues with the story. In the flashback, Fenton tells his younger brother to promise and bury him in the rose garden. But it confuses Agent Wesley, who states that it wasn't making any sense if his brother called him last night and asked to bury him in the rose garden before killing himself. Apparently, it's an opposite story about the promise from the past. Fenton tells Agent Wesley that it does make sense and reveals that he's actually the younger brother, Adam. Afterwards, the actual Adam leads Agent Wesley to where the bodies are buried and explains to Agent Wesley that since his dad couldn't eliminate the actual Fenton, he did it instead and continued the God-given mission of destroying demons. He did in fact see the sins of those his father touched back when he was still a boy. The murder that the woman committed, the heinous acts of pedophilia that the bald old man carried out, and so on. Right then, Agent Wesley accuses Adam that he's insane like his father and points a gun at him. Adam then shocks Agent Wesley with his reply regarding the death of Agent Wesley's mother. It turns out that Agent Wesley murdered his own mother in cold blood and that he's part of the demons that needs to be eliminated. It triggers Agent Wesley and he lunges at Adam, but once their skin is touched, it reveals the horrific scene of the matricide. He then carries Agent Wesley in a hole he dug earlier and eliminates him, using the same axe that God has sent for them. The movie ends with the junior FBI agent visiting the local city to investigate Agent Wesley's death, but unable to recall the face of Adam, who now acts as the local sheriff. When they review the CCTV footage, it doesn't make any sense why the footage isn't clear and somewhat static. This is Daniel's CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.